think we're live now. I always have to delay every video that you've seen where I do it live. There's the beginning delay because I don't know if it's actually working or not until I see it on my other computer. So we are waiting because my other machine says waiting for Gordon Tarpley, even though this one says broadcasting. Ah, there it goes. I think we're in business. Let's see here. Phone's making all kinds of sounds at me. Let's go up here. Anyway, so it is Monday, February 3rd, 2025. And I'm doing my every other day drone practice. So if you've been here before, you know that's what's going on. And if not, that's what's going on. All right, let's see. Put this phone down because I'm trying to not get distracted here. Try to put in, I don't know, an hour or so. We'll get the controller booted up. Hold it. You know what's weird is it doesn't. Let me try it without this thing plugged in. It'd be crazy if it didn't boot up. There it goes. Oh yeah, throttle switch warning. Oh yeah. So it gives you a warning if one of your switches is on in case you're flying a real drone. Oh, focus. All right, there we go. So that's hooked up. Now, with this controller, seems like I got to turn it on and then plug in my USB into the top. Now, I think I talked about this before, but the USB to the computer, the connection for the computer for the simulator is on the top of the controller, and the charged thing is at the bottom, another USB at the bottom. So in theory, I think I could probably run a power into the bottom and have two cables, which is really ridiculous, but may work. However, I do like the fact that I get a little bit of a time limit because the batteries will go down. It seems like they take forever. It starts telling me I've got low batteries way before the thing's gonna die. So that's good, I guess. John England, hello. It's good to see you again. So anyway, let's start farting around here, flying. I'm gonna try to do an hour. Let me set my timer on my phone here. I'll give myself an hour and 2 minutes. Start it. All right, we're going. Now, that'll give me time to switch over, fart around a little bit. And when it goes off, it'll keep me under control here so I don't ramble on for 3 hours because that's something I will do. I messed with my settings right before I came on here for my simulator, and I don't know what I changed, but I did something and it went full screen. It's super low resolution where I couldn't even see what the heck was going on, and I had to try to remember where the menus were because it was so low resolution that it was crazy pixelated. So I went back and I changed it back to the original settings, and then it looked okay. But when I came in the OBS studio that I used to, my broadcast studio, the proportions were all whacked out for some reason. So anyway, all right, let's get to flying. We're gonna go single player, same quad, same thing. Until I get really masterful at this one, I'm not gonna change it. I want to try to keep my all my conditions the same throughout. So until I know what's what, then I can figure out as I change things what it's actually doing. Let's go to the ship port's kind of fun. It's a pretty big place, but it's interesting. Let's do that. Shipyard, Polygon. I think it's supposed to be Polygon. What the? Maybe I'm reading this incorrectly. Kevin, fly that thing. All right, that is what we will do. Let me switch over to this. I'm actually seeing this. Wow, it's funny because if you remember when I was flying just regular, what is going on here? Oh, I see. Oh, my controller was not on USB mode, so there we go. When I was flying using just full screen, where you see my whole screen, the simulator would always minimize it to a smaller screen. And now, after I mess with the settings, it's doing that, but way smaller. Like it's like a little thumb stamp, postage stamp size thing in the middle of my screen, and I have to turn it back to full screen. So there is a setting that says, keep full screen, and I put that on, and that's when everything went to all hell in a handbasket, and was no good. Oh my God! Holy cow! I didn't wreck just now. That was amazing. So I was here on Saturday evening, and I'd gone to, oh my God, Insomniac Studios, and was a mascot of the Ratchet character from Ratchet and Clank. I was in that costume for many hours and walked around, took a lot of photos with people. It was real fun. I saw James Arnold Taylor, who voices Ratchet. He also voices Obi-Wan Kenobi on this Clone Wars, Star Wars Clone Wars, and tons of other stuff too. He's got a bunch of characters. Really, really nice guy. I've known him for probably more than 10 years, and I didn't expect to see him there. I forgot that he voiced that character. So at this thing I went to, all I knew is that they needed someone to wear the costume, and I didn't know what the event was. And they were having an open house at the studio, which I guess it was like free, and you just had to like sign up for it. You could come get a tour of the studio for the 30-year anniversary. I'm actually wearing the shirt right now, which I'll stand up and show you guys in a minute. But they have panels with like creators of the games and so forth, and they had the voice actors, and James Arnold Taylor was one of them. And again, I forgot that he did this character. So when they called us over, you might have heard this the other day, but if you were on here, he came out when, sorry, I got a little focus zone here. They had me stand aside and wait to take pictures with like the CEO and the voice actors, and they come out, and there's James Arnold Taylor, and that was pretty funny. Now, obviously he didn't know it was me in the costume, but I was like, "Hey James, it's Gordon." And he's like, "Oh, hey." So anyway, that was pretty cool. And then yesterday went to the Saturn Awards in Universal City. They used to have it in Burbank for years and years. I've done them before, and they moved it to a hotel in Universal City, which is right by Universal Studios Hollywood. So that was cool, and I did C-3PO there for, I don't know, probably 3 hours or so, just as like a photo op for all the people coming in. And Nicolas Cage was there, and that was kind of wild just to see him walking by, just like hanging out. And I saw Doug Jones, who I consider to be a friend. He's really cool, and I'm always happy to see him. He's like the nicest guy ever, and half of the reason I even got into all this like weird creature stuff that I do is because of Doug, and not because he's inspiring, which he is, but the first time I met him, I told him, I was like, "Oh, that would be a really fun job. I'd love to do that." And he like reaches over and grabs my face, and he goes, turns my head, and he goes, "You got good features for this. You got a thin neck, and small features on your face, and he's like, makeup artists would probably love to work with you." And it kind of like got into my head, and that's because of him just saying those little things. It kind of put it in my head that maybe I could do that. And now I do a lot of creature work and get a lot of work doing makeups and being in weird characters because of that interaction. So I can thank Doug Jones for that. And I've considered him a friend since then. I've hung out with him a few times and seen him lots of times, and I think that's pretty neat. So anyway, it was very good to see him, even though I was just in my 3PO suit at the time. And I saw Christopher Lloyd walking around, and David Dashmushane, if I'm saying his name correctly, who's been in a ton of stuff. And we have mutual friends, so he's like, "Oh, you look so familiar." And I worked with him on the movie Weird, the Weird Al story. And I was in a scene that he was in, and we were on set. And I just introduced myself. Hey, I'm Gordon. You know, that was it. I didn't really talk to him much, and he was really nice. And I said, yeah, I was on Weird with you. I was David Bowie. And he goes, oh. And he goes, oh my gosh, good to see you. And super friendly. Really, really nice guy. So anyway, that was fun. And then we went to the Upright Citizens Brigade afterwards and saw a show. And my friend Dane, who played the freaking Predator in Prey, was there as a guest. So I got to see him as well. So it was like a freaking, celebrity packed Sunday. It was Sunday yesterday, right? Yes, Sunday. All right. So that was all kinds of fun. But yeah, that was my day. And then today I walked around, worked on a mold, cleaned my garage. It was great. Oh, people were writing stuff. Sam Whitwer would probably be a cool guy as well. I saw Sam Whitwer yesterday too. He came right up and got a photo with me when I was C-3PO. And I know Sam. Sam's a really good guy. I worked with him on that Star Trek short, that unification thing. And we knew each other before that too. He did voices for Jedi Temple Challenge that I did one of the droids for, but he wasn't on set with me there. But if you see the credits for Jedi Temple Challenge, we're like on the same page of credits, which is kind of cool. I'm like, oh, Sam Whitwer's here. Look at that, flying by the water, sneaking up. Oh my God, I did not wipe out. I did wipe out. I said it too soon. Doug seems the coolest. He is so cool. He's like, couldn't be a nicer guy. And if I could emulate any of his niceness, man, I would. He's just like next level nice guy. Just so freaking good with everybody. Because so many people just want a piece of his time, and he just is so nice. He's one of those guys that needs like a mean manager to come along and like get people away from him. Because you'll get a crowd, and if he would never be able to just like take off and like let everybody go, he would sit there and talk to every single person, unless someone comes in and like, okay, Doug, we got to go, and then forces him out of the room. Like, you need a person to do that if you're in that situation, I think. But he's so nice. And Sam Whitwer's very nice. And Sam is also extremely talented. When we did the Star Trek thing, he had, there he went underwater. He had so much creative input on that shoot. And that was really neat to see, because a lot of times, the actors aren't as invested. And even when they are invested, it's still like another person's vision. But Sam was being so meticulous with doing Captain Kirk for that thing that he's really cared. So if something wasn't going right, he wanted to fix it, or if the camera was moving a certain way, he wanted to be sure that it captured, different elements. And all his suggestions were very good. They were very good. All right. Damn. As soon as I feel like I'm starting to fly all right, I crash. Let's go through here. I'm trying to like hang close to the ground and see if I can get under some of these. Whoa. Nope. That was not it. Get under some of these trailers and so forth. Yeah, I got to do a bunch of ZBrush work tonight. I want to get my room set up upstairs, because I know I've said this every time, but this setup that I have down here is temporary, and I really want to get all my setup back up. Oh, that thing was closed in the back. That was a trick. I want to get my setup back upstairs where it's supposed to be. Oh my God. And in order to do that, I got to finish my backdrop that I'm making. I decided it was Shatner first, and I watched Sam explain the technology and concept behind it. Yeah, it was crazy. A lot of people thought it was Shatner. I was getting in arguments with people like, no, but that's Shatner at this speed. I'm like, that's not Shatner, and I was there. We filmed it. That's me interacting with Sam. I saw them film the whole thing. People were like, no, it's Shatner. It's Shatner doing a thing, and they de-aged him. I'm like, I promise you, it's Sam. It's Sam Whitwer. I watched him film this whole part. So it was really, really crazy. And the technology is amazing. Like when I went in there to see it, the stuff they showed me, like right at the beginning was just so great. Oh, there goes my alarm. Shut up. This is weird. Hold on a second. There we go. Sorry. That's not my hour alarm. That's some random alarm I had set on my phone for some reason, going off, despite the fact that my timer is on for my hour flight time. Would be cool if Drone Sim included profiles for cinematic races. Oh my god, I know, right? They have some like pretty. I haven't swapped the drone in this one at all yet to see, but I've looked at some of the other drones that they have in here, and there's like a bunch of different ones. So I don't know what the largest size that they have is, but I know they've got 5-inch, 7-inch. They've got the Whoop drones. They've got a whole bunch of different sizes. But like a full cinematic rig would be pretty amazing. I was just talking about that today, about how scary that would be to fly. Like a big expensive camera, $7,000 or 10 or 12 grand camera on top of one of these things or more, depending on what they're giving you. And plus whatever lens that they have you do. I honestly I feel like a real, one of the higher end 360 cameras would probably be awesome on an FPV drone for doing cinematic stuff, because you could reframe it in post as long as you get the technology's quite there yet. I mean, you could get some really, really, really great 360 cam shots, really great, but I don't know if they quite hold up to cinema cameras yet. But they're getting close. I mean, the resolution's so high, and I'm sure with all the AI upscaling and fixing, you could probably do it to a degree that most people wouldn't notice. But I don't know if you guys remember in The Hobbit when they did the barrel scene going down that river, and they were using red cameras for the whole thing, and then all of a sudden there's a GoPro on a raft, and it was 4K GoPro footage, but it just looked so different quality wise. And again, a few years ago. What's the coolest drone you've ever flown? I see some really unique ones lately. I haven't flown that many cool drones. I've flown my drones, which are just DJI consumer level things. And the first drone I had was it was kind of like a split between one of the DJI drones and one of these. It was a Storm Drone 6. So it had some of the same kind of guardrails that, but that is, let me do a demonstration. So if you're flying on the Storm Drone 6 and I push the stick to the left, it won't do this. It'll just it'll just coast to the left or coast to the right. Depending on which way you push, it won't roll. But the altitude was fully controlled like this, like the stick. If I let go of the stick, whatever position it is, the drone would either keep rising or continue to come down. So it was partially flown like an FPV. That part was kind of the same. I don't know if that makes it cooler or not. The drone itself was kind of neat, but it was a little bit earlier in the the consumer drone world, and so it was lacking some of the features that some of the newer drones have. And then you get in that area where sometimes a cinema drone is the better drone choice for a certain shot, but then an FPV drone is cooler looking in some ways. All this stuff, or flying between all these things. Oh my god, I didn't crash yet? I gave up, thought I crashed, and it just let me keep going. Yeah, there's some pretty crazy ones now, and there's a couple that are out now that are, DJI just released, what is it, the Flip drone, which opens up, and it might be handy for some people, but it looks, I don't know, it seems almost too dumbed down for what I would want to do, but I guess it's for doing vlogs and stuff, you can follow you around. And I've seen some other ones like that too, where they're really little, and I've seen some of these runner influencer type people that are getting these really great shots of them running and stuff, and it looks like they got a camera person following them, but it's this little drone. You can set it up and just put yourself as the subject and it'll like follow you. And for that kind of work, really handy. But I think for the things I like to do, I prefer to fly the thing. I think one of the coolest choices currently, the averages out. It's not the best camera, it's not the best drone, but they're really convenient and they work well. Or the DJI minis, they fold up so little and they're easy to fly. They take good video. They are surprisingly good with wind. Not as good as some of the bigger drones, but like impressive. Battery life is great, and they're under, what is it, like they're under 250 grams, which I think is the cutoff. So you can fly it, technically speaking, you can fly it without as much regulation because it's under a certain weight class, which is kind of awesome. Drone pilots can make some good money. Yes, they can. Anybody tackling repeatable motion control software for the drones? There are some things where you can program in the drone things. I don't, I think there are ones that can record what you've done and play it back and do it again. I'm sure they're pretty accurate, because I've seen the ones where you can plot a course and it'll do what you need to do. You can say like, go here, go here, go here, and take all these photos at these different angles and be at these altitudes, and it'll just run the course. There's oh my god, what is it? There's a program where you can set all that up. My friend, he does scanning like of environments, does like basically photogrammetry of like huge mountains and stuff, and he has software that he goes and it's like called pre-flight or something. He sets it all up, and you can basically set it up at home before you go to the location, and then go in and just set your drone up, and it'll go find those GPS coordinates and run all your tasks. And I'm pretty sure they've got some stuff that records what you're doing, and you can run it back and repeat it. I feel like they did that even a few years ago, but I don't know the software. And as far as drone pilots making some good money, I've seen a lot of situations where that's true. That's actually part of the reason I want to get that license, is because there's just so many different places that can use drone footage. And also, again, like, I love working in the film industry, and if I can get jobs in the film industry doing drone stuff as well as the other stuff I do, it's just nice to have a variety of things, because work in one area will get slow, and then, I've been pretty fortunate that there's been, when one area is slow, the other area picks up. But it's like the whole movie industry has gotten a lot slower, and I just got to make sure I've got some other things to like fill the gaps if it gets slow. And doing the drone stuff would be great, because I can go to real estate people or insurance companies or construction companies, or nature places where they want to know what the land looks like, make sure there's no poachers around, or who knows what. There's all kinds of good applications for it. So if you're licensed and you get some connections, you probably do pretty well, especially real estate. I feel like if you can get in with like a real estate company and just be like, hey, I'm a drone pilot, this is what I do, I live in this area, if you got any places for sale, you want drone shots, let me know. It'll be a couple $100. I'll come out and film for 30 minutes and give you the files. And that would be a really good way to make some extra cash on the side. Plus, again, I've talked about this before, but the interior stuff for especially like office buildings, like those big commercial spaces, doing FPV drones, like flying around the rooms and stuff, I think looks so cool when people are good at it. So, I mean, I feel like I'm starting to get better. I'm not good enough to do that yet, but I'm starting to get my confidence up to like fly through little gaps like that, or can I dive this? Yeah. See, like this stuff it feels more and more natural every single time I fly. So, and I'm just chattering away and just crashing, and I bumped into stuff there. That's not good. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable enough hiring out to do this yet, but I feel like I'm starting to get a pretty good feel for it now. My hands are just I'm not thinking about what I have to do. It's more just like I want to go there and I just kind of do it. Whereas if you were here a couple weeks ago, you saw me just crashing into everything and wiping out in weird ways and flipping the drone into stuff. It was silly. Whoa, poles. All right, let's slow down here. I gotta read my comments. I'm gonna see if I can hang here for a minute. If we can land on a thing, let's see. Can I get up there and land? I don't know. I don't even know how to land it in the simulator. That's the one thing I'm not good at, is landing this at all. Gordon Tarpley, poacher hunter. I mean, you never know. That's the thing, is like I could go out there, find those little hunting cabins, and then, do what the Ukrainians are doing with their FPV drones. That cabin is a goner. Seems like good pairing with CM level tracking GPS could make some consistent retakes. That's exactly what it's doing. I think it's using the GPS to do the tracking shots. I bet right now, if we did a search on YouTube, you could find out about that software, because I remember seeing stuff about that. Like, I don't know, what is 2025? Maybe like 7 years ago or something. When I got my Phantom 4, I saw stuff about repetitive drone shots and ways to do them. So I'm sure if they were talking about it then, it's probably really great by now. Because you just think how much cooler speeder bike chase could have been using drones. Can't believe they did that with S-Tracks and Steadicam shots. I know. Well, that was the first time when I was a kid and that came out. And my dad, he got Cinefex magazine. That was the first time I had heard about Steadicam. I remember seeing the behind the scenes footage of them filming those shots, and the guy just walking through, and they're doing like, what was it, like one frame every like 5 seconds or something crazy to make it look so fast. Like super slow film speed, just like cruising through to get the blurring and everything and that speed. I love those shots so much. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the Star Wars films is speeder bike stuff. I always loved that. And that was one of the things seeing at the archives, was seeing the little models of the Luke and Leia on the speeder bikes and the little scout trooper. So cool. I think I saw the scout trooper one in Orlando first, when they had a display there, like a Star Wars exhibit. It had tons of stuff from the archives. And the Orlando Science Center, where they had that, was literally right across the street from my brother's house. Like, my brother, his house is on this lake called it's right in Orlando. If you look up Orlando Science Center, and then their garage is right there. Like, there's a little bridge that goes across to the garage, and then right behind the garage there's like a little neighborhood. My brother's house faced the back of the garage for the Science Center, so I could park at his house and go there. So I went and saw that exhibit a bunch of times. And they had a few days where they wanted characters there for the museum for visitors. So I got to do 3PO there a few times, which meant I got free access to everything. And that was even better, because free is always better. I can see a whole action movie being filmed with drones soon. Oh my God, absolutely. I mean, think about, what was the one they did with like first person Hardcore Henry, where they had like a GoPro on the guy's head, and the whole movie is just like insane action. People jumping out of cars and flying out of windows and getting caught on fire. It's just so crazy. It's all like first person point of view. That was very, very cool. And a lot of people got like that motion sickness from it, but it was such a cool thing. I think that came out 2014. Is that right? Or 20, like right around then. Really good concept. And crash. Oh yeah, heart rate and cocaine. Is that what it's called? Oh, I see. Ambulance was filmed with these drones. Really? And cocaine. I didn't see Ambulance. I wanted to see that. That's the one with, is that the Jake Gyllenhaal one? I feel like, yeah, the shipyard. This one's pretty fun too. I do like the what is the other one called that I always go to? Apocalypse. I feel like that one is really good. And this one is, I'm finding more like kind of cool spots to fly through here, and stuff to fly under and fly through. Oops, it didn't crash. Oh my God, that didn't crash me out. That is wild. Oops, too much, too soon. Yeah, with Jake. I'm not going to try and spell his last name. We all know it's Gyllenhaal, however that's spelled. No, he's I wanted to see that when it was out in the theater. Isn't it? He's like, one of them is like he's working in the call center. Is that right? If I remember correctly from the trailers, or is he in the ambulance and he's working with the call center? I can't remember. But I seem to remember him like being in the 911 like dispatch or something. Speaking of 911 dispatch, I worked on 911 Lone Star. I was right next to the actress that was like really doing stuff. They just, they would have people. You're basically a human prop when you do background work, and I was just sitting there next to the lead actress for that scene, who's like in charge of the call center, and she would have the longest crazy dialogue, and I'd see her like she, it's a TV show, and they film it pretty quick, and so a lot of times those actors, they get their script, they're like right before they, like that day, like here you go, this is today's scenes, and then they don't get to go home and practice like crazy and work out the scene. It's usually like handed to them on the day, and she just got the script, and then I could see her, she'd read it, and then she could just do the whole scene. And I was like, honestly, you got such good memory. How do you have any tricks or anything? She goes, no, I can remember it for about 10 minutes, and then after that I'll start messing up. So she can read it, and then just the whole thing's there, and then she said, if you told me to do it an hour later, I'd forget the whole thing. And I was like, that's pretty interesting. That's the thing, is that we're working in the film industry, is seeing how a lot of famous people that you've seen before, how they work as far as memory and their, working on the scripts and so forth, some people can just, it's like photocopied in their brain. They don't never have to look at a script. And other people are reading the script and checking it, and you see them walking around rehearsing the lines and stuff. And it makes you feel a little better, because I'm kind of like in the middle, like I could remember dialogue, but sometimes I have to read it a lot of times before it sticks. And then I was like, maybe I'm just not good at this. But then it turns out you'll see like famous people that do the same thing. I was like, okay, I don't feel bad anymore. And then you get like the ones, like I said, that are just can read a page one time, and then it's just, they've got it. There you go. There, it's in their head. Oh, look at this. Brad's here. What up, Jedi Fife? I like the Danish original of the Guilty better, personally. Did I spell that right? I don't think I saw that. Which movie is that? Sort of an odd film in both cases. Is that like the Hardcore Henry or the ambulance, or what was that about? Or did I mess it up? I missed something. Is that related to something I was talking about? I don't know if I even know that film. The Guilty. Oh my God. I made it through. Oh, except I got too excited. Oh, aka the 911 film. Sort of a non-film. Jake. Jake is 911 operator. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I wonder what the production budget on that was. I didn't see the whole film. Does he spend the entire time in like the 911 dispatch center, or does he get out and have to go like deal with stuff in real life because he's the only guy to save the day? Oh my god. I'm just making myself sick just now. Oh god. Too much. And zoom. Oh, there's a tiny. You see that little gap right there? Will I even be able to make it through that? Hold on, I'm gonna look at this again. So, see those little guys? Oh my god. I guess I can do it. Let's try to get through one of these, right? Oh. Okay, so I'm gonna try to do this long way. See how like these things are facing down like that? I'm gonna try to fly the length of this inside that little frame. See what happens. Locked in a chair. Whoa, okay. Yeah, that sounds kind of awesome. Wait, here it is. Ready? Oh. No, that little tiny space is the freaking small little gap. Alright. So. Oh, damn. It crashed it out. And then, let's see. What else am I doing? Yeah, I did all that costume stuff the last few days, and today I was kind of shot. It was doing that mascotty thing at the game company, Insomniac Games. I'm really, really surprised that my neck isn't tweaked because the head for that character was humongous, and I was basically, it's like a rock climbing helmet or a bike helmet. I think it's like a rock climbing helmet inside the head. So it's on my head. The whole giant thing is supported by this little helmet. And it's kind of made to fit whoever. It wasn't made custom for me. So it has a little adjuster in the back so you can kind of like lock it down on a chin strap to just make sure it doesn't fall off. But when you turn, the head is like delayed. Like if I turn my head, the whole thing kind of takes a second. And then in the reverse, it gets some momentum. And when I stop, it's like, and there's like zero soreness in my neck. I mean, none. But the whole time I was wearing it, I was like, oh my god, my neck is going to be so tweaked after this. But it's totally fine. If I nodded, it would be just, like a half-second delay from what the head for the costume would do. And to make the costume look like it was actually looking at the camera, I'd have to tilt my head back like this inside to make the head lift up to the right angle. But what would happen is that the helmet inside would start to slip back on my head a little bit, and then it would sit back here. And now the head actually is a lot straighter, but it's not comfortable because my head's sitting at a weird angle. So even though it's a whole thing. It was great. Donnie Darko will forever be one of my favorite films with oh yeah, I love Donnie Darko, and the soundtrack for that movie is super good too. Yeah, I remember like Art Andrews from the RPF got his hands on the real mold from oh my god, what the hell is his name? The rabbit costume guy. He got the real mold from the production mold of that thing, and he made like, I want to say like 12 copies of it for people, and they're really good. You got like the hair match and everything, so they're very, very cool. And I always liked that thing. I think it'd be fun to replicate that as well. Maybe that's the one I should do for the Patreon, make a 3D printable version of that. Frank is his name, right? Oh my god. Yes, I did that mascot, and then and then 3PO the next day for like 3 hours in that suit. So makes some sore spots. The thing with the Ratchet costume is the Clank little robot. They made it so that the Clank was like worn like a backpack while I was in the costume, and that little robot was not light. And they the way he's mounted, he sits out like pretty far off of the back, so it puts a lot of leverage. And there's this big harness thing, and so I have like these bruises right here from the harness. And I feel a little bit. So when I do the 3PO kind of sits in the same place, so it's not very comfortable. Full speed and turn. See if I can get back on that track here. Oh, and I crashed. How did the marathon go? I didn't run the marathon because I was in that costume. I got hired to do that mascot gig, and I didn't do the marathon because of that. I'm going to try and do like a makeup run sometime, maybe this week if I can. I'm supposed to do C3PO at my friend's wedding on Thursday, and I don't think I have to be there till 2, so maybe I have time to like go do that marathon before the wedding and then go do 3PO at the wedding. Probably a terrible idea, but it might be the best chance. And because my friend put the marathon on, I think he'll still give me the my times, because there's a website called oh my god, I'm blanking the name. It's basically like an ultra sign up is the name of it, where you can sign up for marathons and ultra marathons, and it saves all of your races. And Josh, the guy that does the marathons, always runs his marathon through ultra sign up. What's cool about that is that your results are forever on there. So if you go back, you can see all of your old races on the website, and I love that. And I signed up for this race, but I have no score because I ended up not running the thing. So if I go run it and I show that I ran it, I'll have it on my Strava, be logged on there, and all my lap times and everything. Then he will probably honor my run times just to put it on there, because I'm not super fast. I'm not going to like go out to win it, but it is a fun one to do. And it's just a nice excuse to go run around there a bunch of times. Marathon in the rain. It didn't rain that day, but I would do it. I would run it in the rain. I don't care. I like running in the rain. It's fun. I'm from Florida, so I used to run in the rain a lot when I lived there, and I have run in the rain maybe twice the whole time I've lived in California, and I kind of miss it. Florida, rain all the time. A wedding with a droid. There's a wedding I'd go to. It should be interesting. We'll see what the deal is. I think I'm supposed to be like the ring bearer, and it was kind of like back and forth whether that was going to be the case or if I was going to be there as just like, photo op for the guests and so forth. But it looks like we're going to be ring bearers. The droids are going to come up and have the actual rings. So we'll see how that goes. However, again, with the rain thing, like you were talking about, it is supposed to rain on Thursday, and I don't know the way the wedding's set up, if it's partially outdoors, because he made a comment about the rain. So I'm like, okay, is this outside? I thought it was in a building, but I don't know what the hell's going on. I really don't. Maybe it's on a rooftop, because he mentioned something about having to go upstairs. Oh, damn it. Oh my god, I'm still flying. Here comes Natalie down the stairs, dancing away. And yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I like being able to help out, but also I'm just like, I think the idea today, after being in the suits for 2 days and then thinking about getting back in there, is not the funnest. This is the thing, is wearing the 3PO costume. It's fun when I'm in it, but I don't like putting it on, if that makes sense. Like the whole process of getting in it is like a big nightmare. And once I'm in, we're okay, but I hate putting it on. I always just stress out that something's not going to be right, or the lights aren't going to work on the eyes, which has only happened twice in 10 years. Or my speaker's going to die, or something's going to not work right, or like I'll put it all on, and then like a wire will get disconnected, and then we have to pull half of the suit off again. Once it's on and everything's good, I'm okay. All right, I'm gonna go through there and under here. What was it? I think there's another like shipping port here. Maybe that's on the other game and I'm getting it mixed up. I gotta go look. Oh, my phone is making some noises. Let me see what that's about. Sorry, I gotta check this really quick. Got a crash here, and 19 minutes left for this. Okay, we're safe. I'm just making sure that I don't have. Whoa, my God, I'm still flying. Look at this. I have to make sure sometimes that I don't miss certain emails, and that sound could have been an important email. Sometimes with the way these jobs work is like people reach out and they need somebody like pretty quick, and if you don't respond quick, they've just sent that email to like 5 people, and someone else responds first and they end up getting a gig. So when my phone makes a noise, I'm like, is it that? That's also why, like, on my Facebook messages, I never check them because I disabled the the noises on there, so I wasn't constantly looking at my phone, because none of those kind of gigs come through Facebook. It's always like email or text, so I try to keep those alerts on. And then most of my social media alerts I shut down so that I'm not getting distracted all day long, because that ain't good. My internet just blipped on this other computer for a moment for some reason, so hopefully I don't drop out. It looks like you're ready for a drone. I feel like I'm pretty close. I'm ready to definitely get a cheap one and fly it around. But now I'm at the cusp because, I thought about, I'll get some used goggles. I don't want to pay like a bajillion dollars for a nice set of goggles until I know. But I saw a really, oh my God, I'm still flying. I saw a really, really great kind of demo of the DJI like 04 or 04, whatever they're called, camera transmitter for the drones. But I think you have to use them with DJI goggles, which are supposed to be really good. I've heard good stuff about them. But I didn't know if I wanted like HD0 or one of these other brands, because they all have their perks or whatever. But the video I saw from the goggles from one of those DJI, the new DJI units, was really, really good. And it's small enough that it fit on a little whoop drone, which apparently that was a thing with the like the digital goggles or digital transmitters that are a little bit heavier. And so a lot of the whoop drone pilots were doing analog, and this DJI was on a whoop drone, and it looked beautiful. Footage looked really, really, really good, like unbelievable. So now I might have to get that, and it's freaking expensive. So no fun there. I missed out on working on True Blood because they texted me while I was driving. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I've missed out on things like that before, where I just missed a text. And I've had ones where they wanted to book me. Like they emailed me once and I said, yeah, I want to do it. And then when they sent me back the thing, like, okay, like we want you to come in this time, whatever. And basically like sent me a booking offer, but I didn't see it. And so I missed one like maybe like in December. I had to drop some stuff off at a friend's place, and I hadn't seen him in a while. I was talking to him, my phone beeped at me, and I like was talking to him. I didn't look, and then when I checked my phone like 40 minutes later, I saw they sent me a booking offer for this gig, and then they canceled it, and I guess they got someone else. And I was like, God damn it. So I just try to pay attention. It's happened to me a couple of times where I've missed stuff because I just didn't hear the phone, or I missed the thing, or I just happened to not look at the right time, or same thing, been in the middle of something else. And the worst is like if you're actually on a job, you're on set, a lot of the places don't let you have your phone out, or you just can't be walking around the set with your phone around. People get really sensitive about that. And you get back from like being on set for 5 hours and you see you've missed like multiple very time sensitive things. Oh my god, that is annoying. Oh shit. And oh my god. Oh my god, great. But yeah, so anyway, I back to that. My phone makes noises and I have to try to know which ones to ignore so that I can actually get some stuff done, because it used to be like every little comment on anything or every message on Instagram or whatever would go make noise. It's just constant. So I was like, I can't have this on. But then people think you're ignoring them, even though you're not. And that's not good either. Ooh, there's a little space. You see that little gap? Hang on, let me see if I can hit this one again. There is, crash. Underneath that chain, where's that thing hanging around at? This one? Where the heck was I? Under one of those dangly bits there, I see it. There was a little pass through in the middle. It looks really, really. Can I get that thing? Is it this right? No, I don't think it's big enough there. HC0 is for racing, and the VTX break after a while. DJI and 04 offers race mode, and the VTX on the 04 is very durable. See, that's what I like to hear. So I think that's going to be the thing I get is the 04, because I'd seen a lot of stuff from it and it looked really good. But I think the test I saw today, just because the guy that I watch is always flying those little whoop drones, and to see his footage suddenly look really, really good, I was like, oh my god, what is this? And he was freaking out because I guess he was using somebody else's drone at the time. It's just unreal. So if I do that, I'm gonna do that. But again, I gotta fund the whole damn thing, and right now I'm trying to be careful with money because I'm gonna be going to Florida to play shows. Then my brother's coming to visit in May. And then I'm going to Japan in April. So I have like a ton of stuff coming up, and I don't want to blow a bunch of money before I go on these trips and stuff. So I gotta figure that out. And hopefully I'll pick up some great job before then, one of those like 3 weeks and a lot of money. That would be really great. But it doesn't happen all the time. So I'm trying to do some other stuff that can offset that. We'll see how it goes. I'm making some of my own projects. I know there's some people interested in buying some things that I want to make, so I'm trying to do that as well. Alright, where am I at? Go this way. Can I cut through the... Nope, I missed it. I was going to try to go through the rail, and I crashed. This is where I break my expensive drone stuff. Every time I crash, I wish it would like shock me every single time I crashed. It'd be a lot of incentive to not wipe out. Oh, damn it. Almost did it. Oh, I didn't die. I did that time. I can always tell when it's like 40 minutes in. How far am I in? Oh my gosh, did my alarm go off? Oh no, 10 minutes left. We're good. Yeah, I was like, I can tell. I'm getting that. Like, when I get close to an hour, I start getting extra sloppy. And that is not good, because in real life, flying real sloppy could be a very expensive disaster. Like clipping things like that. Even if I make it, I'm going to probably tear up my rotors. Oh my god. So today I've spent I think I've spent the whole time at the shipping yard here, whatever it is, the port, the docks or whatever. Zoom. And sweet. But yeah, so anyway, I did this, and if you weren't here earlier, I was saying how I messed with some settings in here. I was going to turn up the graphics and see like what this could handle. I ended up switching it back to the default, setting, but even after I changed it back, it kind of loads differently. It looks the same right now, but if I stop the game, it'll minimize down to this tiny little screen. It looks really weird, so I might try to like pump up the graphics a bit and see how it does. And this computer it's a decent gaming computer from a few years ago, so it's got okay hardware in it, but again, it's a few years old, so I'm not sure like what the limitations are. And I never used it for games. It was I use it for doing ZBrush and stuff, and when I was going to get a workstation initially, but a workstation laptop with the exact same specs, literally the same video card and the same specs, processor, video card, same amount of RAM, all that. If I got a gaming computer, it was like hundreds of dollars cheaper than buying it as a workstation, the same hardware. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna get a gaming computer because I don't want to spend, extra $400 or $500 or how much it was. It's a pretty significant jump just to have the word workstation stuck on there because it's professional. It's got to look professional. So now I have a computer that I use for doing professional CG work, but it's all got fancy goddamn RGB lights all over it and stuff, which I shut off, but it used to have like the keyboard would light up and have these lights that went around. It was ridiculous. But I don't really care as long as it can do the same work. Okay. Never the same performance for the workstation. If you buy used gears, you can sell it when you're ready to invest in GI gear. That's true. I mean, I'm probably going to do that. I'm probably going to get some like used, semi-inexpensive stuff just to get started because I just want to like get really flying. And there is like a mental thing I think about knowing that you have something in the air flying around. You can actually break stuff. That like all the simulation stuff is awesome for getting like the hand-eye stuff down, but that mental thing of having a real drone out, I think, is important to get over as well. I did notice even like just flying like my old, when I got my Phantom 4, and I think I told you guys this before, one of the first times, like a few weeks after I got it, we went to Hawaii, and I flew it way out over the ocean. And when I was looking at the drone, I would get so stressed out. As soon as I kind of just stopped looking at the drone and looked at the signal coming in from my drone, just looked at my phone and watched a little video, it was like a game. Like I kind of detached from what was really going on, and now I'm just flying it out there over these surfers and looking at boats and stuff, and it was fine. But that mental thing of knowing that my drone that was expensive that I just bought is way out over the ocean was pretty stressful. They always limit CPU and GPU wattage, desktop versus laptop. Oh yeah, I know that for sure. I mean, that's the thing is like I don't game very much, and like the desktop stuff is great, and I did CG work for years since 2000. I mean, I was like all the way back to like the late 90s. I was doing artwork on the computer, but I started doing like 3D work in 2005, and I have a bunch of desktops. I always worked on desktop computers because the laptops just couldn't handle it, but the newer laptops are so good now that they handle a bunch. I mean, a desktop is still more powerful, but it's to the point where anything I really needed to do, it hasn't mattered. I've got this laptop a few years ago, and it can handle like really big ZBrush files, which is the main thing that I was having trouble with before. It's like just ZBrush stuff. And my old desktop wasn't as powerful as this laptop, and this laptop again is getting dated because I think I got this like, I don't know, it's probably getting close to 5 years old or something, but works really great. And I've just done tons of work on it, tons of like huge Fusion 360 files, huge files. And again, the ZBrush stuff was the main thing because the ZBrush is just super intensive, and as long as that works smoothly, then I'm okay. And I've been live streaming my ZBrush here. I haven't done super heavy ZBrush files while I live stream, but the ones I've been doing has been working fine. Like I kind of forget that the thing is playing in the background. So I don't know. Actually, I need to check and see if this stuff is recording to my computer or what's going on. CAD and single core floating point, yeah. Yeah, so the thing is, SolidWorks is like a massive freaking resource hog in the computer. Like, just to open it on my, I think I was telling you that on my old computer, that's the one that's I'm watching this on to see if the stream is working, which is not made for graphics at all, but I had it on that computer because at the time my last desktop was kind of like dying on me a little bit, and the last desktop was getting old because I left doing the architecture stuff, and even then that laptop was maybe like 2 years old at the time, so it was like it's pretty dated by these standards at the time. Really nice, but I put SolidWorks on this laptop over here, which I had been running Fusion on and so forth. When I put SolidWorks on there, SolidWorks just opening it, I got like a warning like, oh, you're low on resources. I'm like, oh my god, I haven't even opened there's not even a file on the screen yet. It's just the program. So, but with Fusion, I mean, if you see some of the files that I've done for some of these builds have been really dense with parts, and it's run almost flawlessly. I've had one time when in Fusion, it keeps the history of everything back there. So if you're doing like parametric modeling, it'll reference old stuff, or you can go back down to your history and like change the thing. And it started to really lag right as I was almost done with this project, and that's like the only really real time I've had an issue with Fusion. And at that point, the way I was modeling, it didn't matter, so I just like turned off the history and then it was fine. So it was something about the way I was referencing. It was probably the way I was modeling the stuff is not optimal, because I was just kind of like bashing through everything and like making 100 modifications to the same solids in all kinds of horrible ways. It worked. I mean, it did what I needed to do, but it's not really like the proper way to model in there. So I think that's why, because I would open thing and change an aspect of something, I would have to go through all of the steps that I did to that part before I got to where I was at. But I don't know, it's just the nature of it, I guess. And didn't start modeling as an engineer, so my workflow is kind of not the best for that. Works okay, and I can do, set it up to do parametric stuff if I need to, but I don't typically need to. So I just do whatever's going to get me the stuff done fastest. I'm not worried about all the constraints being perfect and everything. Cloud computing, how does that work when you're traveling in an airplane? I've never actually tried. No idea. I've never had to do the cloud compute. I mean, like the Fusion 360, that works offline. It's not. I haven't had to do the cloud compute part of it before. I know if you're doing like running simulations or like simulations for material testing and trying to find out your weak points and all that stuff, I think it does that through the cloud, but I never have to mess with that for most of what I do. I'm trying to think what I've ever done where I've had to do cloud stuff. I think I did some renderings before where it was like cloud-based rendering in Fusion 360, and that was like a couple years ago. I'm not going to open it right now. I was going to say next time I open Fusion, I'll go back down because I can see the projects that I did to render the things out, and I had to like do that as cloud-based. Another thing too is if I import a big assembly from SolidWorks, like as a step file, that does a cloud-based conversion to bring it into Fusion. It does a really good job at it, like a really good job. It brings in all the pieces, and they're all editable, they're all solids. It's really nice. And I think they just added a thing where it can recreate the history of the part to some degree. I don't know how it does that. From a step file, it's like probably their AI just can look at it and assume it was built a certain way. But that's all cloud-based, and I've had to use it for that before, but it's pretty atypical for what I do. Hold on a second. Uh-oh. All right, guys, that's my hour. That is my hour. Let's go check out this buoy. Wow. All right. So I'll look around here. Let's explore these boats. And once I crash, I'm gonna. Oh my God. Well, I said once I crashed, but now I looked over and I just went underwater. That's cool. All right, I'll do another quick flight here, and then I'm gonna call it. I think OnShape offloads a bunch of the heavy GPU lifting. See, I want to try that. I think that it's supposed to be pretty good. And the thing is that the GPU rendering stuff, or the cloud-based stuff, is really handy for some of that. I mean, I've seen a friend of mine basically was working remotely, and it wasn't exactly cloud-based. He was working remotely, and he was just on like a regular laptop, but he was logged into his computer at work, and he was doing like Houdini simulations and stuff on some massive like desktop computer he had at the office, and he was literally working on the machine, like just using like one of those like oh my God, what the hell is the one we used to use at my work? We could just log into your desktop and control it, but the connections are getting so fast that it's pretty much real time. You could work just like you're working now, but your computer, your job with all the processing power is doing the work. And as soon as I heard they were doing that with some of these editors and stuff, where you could just basically almost work on a tablet if you wanted to, but all the heavy duty rendering and everything is happening somewhere else. That's pretty awesome. See, like, I would pay subscription for that if I used it all the time. I think that's one of those things that could be worth a subscription cost. But if it's like I'm working on my own, my own computer, my computer's doing work, I don't want to pay for a subscription. I hate that. All right, I really should be getting off here and going doing some other work, but I'm having fun, so it makes it tricky. Oh, there it is. Okay, we'll call it. That's the crash for the night. Fair enough. I think OnShape offloads a bunch of the heavy GPU lifting. File conversion stuff like that, yeah. The file conversion stuff, I mean, I've had, how many things have I done where I've had to do file conversions? Like, I could probably count the times on my hands when I've gotten files from someone that was using another like Rhino or SolidWorks, and then I had to convert the files. Like a handful of times, pretty rare. So, and I don't bring my computer with me to travel that much. I've brought it a handful of times. So the laptop that I'm actually playing this game on right here it's not huge, but it's like kind of a bigger laptop, and I've traveled with it a bunch. Like I've taken it places to work. Like if I go to work at Tom's Bean Shop in New York, I always bring this computer just in case. But it takes like a bigger backpack. Like my other like little laptop over here, it's smaller. Like it'd fit, it's just like normal size, 15-inch or whatever. But the one here, is it 17-inch? It's like a pretty decent sized screen, and it's just bigger. It has like the full number pad and full keyboard and everything. And to have it in a plane and set it up in like the little plane area is a little bit of a pain in the ass. It's not horrible. I've done it, but it's not my favorite. So anyway, thanks for hanging. Yeah, of course, man. I'm happy to do it. And let me see here. Go down here, and I'll be back. I might even come back tonight and do some ZBrush. I gotta get some work done on that thing in my room. I'm trying to get this set up, like I said, and then I'll come back and do. If I don't come back tonight in ZBrush, I'll definitely be back tomorrow because I got to get a bunch of stuff done. Try to get my freaking Patreon rolling and awesome and good to go, and yeah, that'll be it. But let's go switch back over to this screen. That's the me. Oh look, and here's my shirt that I got at Insomniac Games yesterday. It's the first time it's not cold in here. I'm not wearing a scarf and a big old snowsuit like the little kid from Christmas Story. I can't get up. Come back. Don't leave me. You know that part, right? All right, anyway, I'm going to